circulating online, the 2025-2026 budget process is still underway. No finance bill 2025 has been proposed, drafted or tabled in Parliament. As per established timelines, revenue-raising measures such as a finance bill only follow the release of the draft budget after April 30th. Kenyans will be fully engaged through public participation once the finance bill is officially submitted to Parliament. The government unequivocally states that there is no finance bill 2025 tabled anywhere yet, and such outrageous claims should be shunned. And we are calling upon the members of the press to help us so that we do not spread propaganda. Accordingly, Kenyans will have the opportunity to interrogate any revenue-raising measure through a thorough public participation only after the draft budget and finance bill have been released by the National Treasury and submitted to Parliament. The major intervention thus far is the budget policy statement. The BPS outlines the government's strategic priorities and ceilings to guide the national government, county governments, and independent constitutional institutions in preparation of the budget. So this is a BPS. It says how much money can you actually spend. And on 30th of April, we'll have the various appropriations, the appropriations bill, as we know it as the budget. The 2025 budget policy statement is a third to be prepared under the Kenya Kwanza administration, and the government's fiscal policy year 2025-2026 and the medium term places special emphasis on fiscal consolidation and budget restructuring to reduce public debt vulnerabilities while providing fiscal spaces to deliver essential public goods and services, to boost revenues, and to emphasize on the fact that we need a combination of tax administration and tax policy measures and not an increase of taxes as alleged. The government will also focus on strengthening accountability, transparency, and efficiency in public spending. Let me now turn to the issue of guaranteed minimum returns. In the Kenya Kwanza bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the Better Plan, we made a solemn pledge to transform Kenya's agricultural sector into a powerful engine for economic growth, food security, and farmer prosperity through subsidizing productivity and value addition. As we promised, the government is implementing the guaranteed minimum returns to assure farmers of predictable incomes. This has significantly stabilized farmer earnings and reduced the vulnerability to market volatility, hence a true realization of our campaign slogan of Pesa Mfukoni. These tangible outcomes are as a result of prioritizing production instead of subsidizing consumption. For example, macadamia now is going for 100 shillings per kilo, making Kenya the leading global producer. And this is something we should be proud of, thanks to proper scheduling and a shift to production subsidies. Coffee, through the Coffee Cherry Fund and other policy measures, coffee farmers now earn an average of Kenya shillings 130 per kilo, up from Kenya shillings 50, with payouts sent directly via M-Pesa. On milk, the farm gate price for milk was raised from Kenya shillings 37 to 50 per litre, boosting dairy farmers' income significantly. When it comes to sugarcane, farmer earnings have actually risen from 4,500 to Kenya shillings 5,300 per metric ton, which is an increase of a whole 800 shillings, with some of the farmers actually receiving bonuses for the first time in a long time due to improved support for farmer production, including debt cancellation. When it comes to Miraa farmers have seen increase of all the three types of Miraas: grade 1 from 700 to 1,300, grade 2 from 350 to 700, and Alil grade from 500 to 1,000. On tea, the government has promoted local value addition to tea, enabling the export of processed tea and increasing returns to farmers. On avocado, Kenya becomes fast Africa's top exporter and producer of avocado, reflecting successful policy support and market access. And we are calling upon farmers to continuously take opportunity to grow avocado because it is very, very important. The same case with leather. There's a renewed focus on tanneries like the one in Narok, which we visited the other day with my office. And the leather sector is expanding, creating value addition opportunities and strengthening local production. And in fact, we even bought shoes that are now locally produced. And we are very happy that they are actually of very high quality, especially the school-going shoes are very, very nice. And the various kinds of leather, including even from crocodile and other kind of skins. When it comes to Taifa Care, last year the government introduced SHA, Social Health Authority, now known as Taifa Care, which of course we are very happy to have Dr. Mercy Mwangagi as the new CEO. And this is according to our promise of universal health coverage for all Kenya. This initiative is aligned with the Kenya's commitment to the UHC as and of course under Vision 2030, but also within the fourth medium-term plan, MTP4. And of course it marks a transformative shift from curative out-of-pocket healthcare to a publicly funded solidarity-based model. And it is important to say that it is contributory also to 300 shillings every one of us and above. And so it's important for many of us to pay so that then more people can benefit. Taifa Care guarantees healthcare access for all Kenyans, regardless of income level or employment status. Every citizen is expected to register under the new program to benefit from its wide-reaching health services. Taifa Care covers outpatient and inpatient services, maternal and child health, emergency care, mental health services, very important because there are very many cases of mental health nowadays, and chronic and critical illnesses, such as cancer, diabetes, and hypertension. It aims at reducing out-of-pocket expenses that have often led to poverty due to high medical bills. Further, the national government and the Council of Governors had a bilateral health summit to review the progress of Taifa Care, 140 days since we commenced the rollout of the program on 1st of October 2024 to ensure seamless implementation. Over 19.7 million Kenyans are now registered under Taifa Care, up from 8 million under the defunct NHIF, translating to 146% increase. And with this also, over 8.5 million Kenyans have visited for various hospitals for checkups. Out of these, 331,265 Kenyans were referred for diabetes treatment and 711,172 referred for hypertension checkups. Recently in a hospital, a single mother, Amina, held her son's hand tightly as she underwent cancer treatment, her heart heavily with worry, not just for his health, but also for the mounting bills. Then came the transformative news. The Social Health Authority has upgraded its system, ensuring hospital claims are processed by the 14th of each month, easing financial burdens for countless families. Alongside this, SHA has boosted ICU and HDU daily rates from the current 4,480 shillings to Kenya shillings 28,000 per bed night, and raised oncology coverage from the current 400,000 to 550,000 per patient, offering Amina and many other Aminas like her a lifeline. The government is in the process of rolling out daily payments through M-Pesa to ensure that Kenyans who cannot afford to pay lump sum amounts of money do so at their own convenience. The government urges those who have not registered to do so in order to enjoy the full benefits of Taifa Care. It is regrettable that we have a disease outbreak in northern Kenya called Kala-Azar. Kala-Azar, also called visceral leishmaniasis, is a life-threatening disease caused by a parasite transmitted through the bite of infected sandflies. It may affect many people in arid and semi-arid counties, including Turkana, West Pokot, Baringo, Isiolo, Wajir, Marsabit, and Garissa. In Wajir County, the Kenya government has swiftly responded to the recent Kala-Azar outbreak, which has affected over 600 people and claimed 33 lives since September 2024. We send our most sincere and heartfelt condolences to the departed. The Ministry of Health is closely working together with the Wajir County government and has deployed 3 mobile laboratories in Eldas and Wajir West, enabling rapid testing for those unable to reach hospitals. A satellite blood bank equipped with a new blood analysis machine has been established to support critical care, significantly improving patient outcomes. And because of these efforts, therefore, recoveries now surpass new infections. This is very important, with hospitals discharging more patients than they admit. The government, through the Ministry of Health, continues to bolster resources and coordination to contain the spread, urging communities to seek early testing, and treatment to prevent further loss. On cholera, the government acknowledges the recent rise in reported cases of cholera, a waterborne disease that poses a serious public health risk. In Nairobi's Kibera settlements, 12-year-old Mercy narrowly escaped tragedy when a sudden onset of watery diarrhea signaled cholera's grip. Thanks to rapid intervention at a local health facility, she has recovered fully, a testament to the government's ongoing efforts to combat these and other diseases. As of 8th of April 2025, a cumulative 100 cases and 6 deaths across Nairobi, Migori, and Kisumu counties have been reported. Once again, we send our most sincere condolences to the 6 who have lost their lives. The government has initiated a multi-sectoral rapid response team to curb the outbreak. Surveillance has been intensified in all sub-counties and border areas, with isolated facilities fully equipped with treatment guidelines, healthcare workers, and medical supplies. The government has distributed critical resources, including medicines, lab kits for testing, and protective gear to frontline responders. Public sensitization campaigns is in full swing, leveraging on local radio public forums and door-to-door outreach to promote hygiene, water treatment, chemicals, soap, and hand-washing stations across so that they can be deployed effectively and so that people can use them. And we urge the media to actually help us in this. The government, in collaboration with various partners, is working diligently to address the cholera outbreak in the country and urges the public to remain vigilant, adhere to health guidelines, and report any symptoms promptly to healthcare authorities. The government remains committed to updating the public with any new information and developments further to mitigate this outbreak. Let me now turn to the issue of education. The government has taken note of recent developments in the education sector, particularly the regrettable incident involving Butere Girls High School students during the ongoing Kenya National Drama and Film Festival, the unlawful withholding of national examination certificates by certain school principals, and the progress on reforms of the university funding model. With regards to the Butere Girls High School play, Echoes of War, the government is fully seized of the matter and considers it serious enough to warrant a comprehensive review of the circumstances that led to the disruption. The government remains committed to nurturing artistic talent and freedom of expression, encouraging youth to express themselves and to participate in creative expression as outlined in the digital superhighways and creative economy pillar of the Better Plan. However, such creativity, especially in school environments, must be done within the parameters of clearly defined rules and regulations. The rules governing the Kenya National Drama and Film Festival unambiguously state that all performances must adhere to adjudicated scripts, and all training of students must be conducted strictly by registered teachers or accredited instructors affiliated to recognized education institutions, not like those ones who pontificated themselves on national television as if to gain political mileage. The introduction of unapproved individuals, including those outside the teaching profession, into school-based co-curricular activities constitutes a violation of both ministerial regulations and the TSC Code of Conduct. The conduct witnessed in the run-up to the planned performance was not only irregular, but posed a serious threat to the integrity of school-based co-curricular activities. The Ministry of Education has not taken any disciplinary action against the school's management, as the matter is still under active investigation, and appropriate action will follow based on the findings upon conclusion of internal disciplinary hearings. The government remains clear that Kenyan schools are not arenas for political experimentation, nor shall our children be used as pawns in political ideological contests. Schools are safe spaces for learning, creativity, and character development, not platforms for provocation. Moving forward, the Ministry of Education shall ensure full compliance with festival rules and shall conduct a thorough review of the regulations to forestall any repeat of such unfortunate occurrences. It doesn't matter what has happened in the past. Things must change going forward. On national examination certificates, the government is aware that despite repeated directives, some school heads continue to unlawfully withhold certificates for students over fees-related issues. This is not only illegal, but it is unacceptable. A national examination certificate is a property of the learner. Denying any student access to their academic credentials undermines the very foundation of our education system and compromises the right of the child. Because even if you hold on to it, how will it benefit you as a teacher? The government will thus not tolerate this continued defiance of its directive and impunity, and stern action will be taken against schools who continue to defy these instructions. So that is to all the teachers. All county directors of education are now directed to comply and to submit a list of all the people, the staff and the head teachers who are not adhering to this directive, and a report will be submitted to the Ministry of Education within 14 days to ensure that we have a proper status of uncollected certificates. And Kenyans should also be able to volunteer this information. Any principal found culpable will face disciplinary and legal consequences. The government has instructed all the officials of the ministry to take immediate and firm action against any individual who continues to defy this directive. Further, on the subject of higher education financing, popularly known as the NFM, the government affirms its commitment to reforming the university funding model in line with recent court rulings. Public participation is already being conducted across the country to ensure the revised model reflects these needs and aspirations of Kenyan families. A comprehensive report prepared over the last several months is already complete and will guide the next phase of engagement and implementation in order to deliver a university funding model that is transparent, fair, and sustainable. On femicide, we regret to announce that we have lost over 100 women in the last couple of months. In a quiet Nairobi suburb, 24-year-old Esther's life was tragically cut short last month. This is a clear case of femicide, and it really shows what we have been going through for the last 1 year or so. Her story is etched in the hearts of a grieving nation and fuels our country's resolve to end femicide and gender-based violence. The government unequivocally condemns these heinous acts and extends its deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of the departed, standing in solidarity during the times of immediate loss. Those found culpable will face the full force of the law. The Technical Working Group on GBV and Femicide was formed in January 2025 to develop a robust framework within 90 days to eradicate these crimes. The group is reviewing key laws, including Sexual Offences Act 2006, popularly known as the Jokindongo Bill, and the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act 2015, and has engaged over 30 organizations with public forums planned across all the 47 counties in 2 weeks to ensure every Kenyan voice is heard. Several multi-agency teams coordinated by the State Department for Gender and Affirmative Action are responding swiftly to condemn femicide incidents, support affected families, and collaborate with security agencies to ensure swift arrests and prosecutions. The revised National Policy on Prevention and Response to GBV 2025 awaits Cabinet approval to bolster systemic responses. It's already been presented to the Cabinet Committee, waiting for the final approval. And Kenya has also signed the African Union's Convention on Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls in February 2025, and underscoring our global commitment towards ending femicide and to build a nation where women and girls thrive without fear, backed by justice and compassion. The government remains firmly committed to transparency, accountability, and well-being of every Kenyan, from safeguarding our economy through sound fiscal policies, empowering our farmers, and ensuring accessible healthcare, to upholding the rule of law and protecting the dignity of the people of Kenya. As we move forward, we call upon all citizens to remain engaged, discerning, and united in collective pursuit for a just, prosperous, and resilient Kenya. Kenya itainuka, Kenya itasimama, Kenya itanawiri kwa umoja na uzalendo. Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo. Je, wewe? Mimi ni Mkenya mzalendo daima. Thank you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate. As usual, this is what we are going to do. For those ones of you who have questions, najua mna maswali mengi sana, taiyo butere ni sawa mkianza kuuliza. So kindly, let's do as we usually do it. Let's have your name, the media house that you represent, and then your questions. Let's do the first three. I know or 4. I'll have somebody else work with the microphone to assist me. Who else? Do we have an extra microphone? I'll have Sang go around. Just remember what we've agreed. Your name, the media house you represent, and your question. Kindly, for now, let's keep one question per person. All right, we'll do the first 4.
Yes, good morning. I'm Jeremy Kijo from Ghetto Radio, and my question is, you've said for the thing to do with the drama, it has to be done by a trained teacher recognized by the Teacher Service Commission. And now my question is, how many teachers does the government deploy in schools to train drama from and paid by the government?
Before I ask my question, just to add on what he has to say, does this also apply for other extracurricular activities like sports? We have coaches from outside in sports in schools, so does it also apply for other extracurricular activities? My question, my name is Winfrey Owino. I'm a reporter at KTN, and my question is on Taifa Care. You have made a very nice presentation, but that is just on paper. Stakeholders in the health sector say the issue is with the funding. And as we understand, SHA is divided into 3. SHIF and the 2 others, the primary and the emergency. So for the primary and the emergency, we're supposed to be funded by the government. And from the stakeholders' point of view, they say the funding is way too little. And then when we also look at the SHIF, it's all about contributions. We have only 4 million Kenyans contributing out of the almost 20 million registered. So the main issue with SHA is the funding. So what is the government doing to ensure that it is well funded and to make sure this, the SHA is working effectively?
Thank you very much. I'm Clive Ayuko. I represent the Whistling African, which is an online news portal. And I have 2 questions. And question number 1, you said in your presentation or in your statement, you talk about the tear gassing of the kids being regrettable and action will be taken. Now, from where I'm sitting, I'm thinking some of those officers may actually pass the buck, say it's deferred or the orders. So how far will you go up in terms of prosecution, and who are you likely targeting in this particular action which will be taken? And perhaps question number 2, you started your statement in Kiswahili, which is a bit not normal, but it's a national language in the Constitution. Is it a question of strategic ambiguity? Are you trying to maybe muddle the waters? Thank you.
Okay, good morning. My name is Alvin, reporter at TV47. And to add on what he has asked, why did law enforcement resort to tear gas and force against students and journalists at the drama festivals, and was this response proportionate to the situation? And maybe the second question is, given the controversy surrounding the Butere Girls play, does the government believe students should have unrestricted creative freedom in drama festivals? And if so, how will they ensure that this is not curtailed? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Let me start. It's very interesting, some of the questions you're asking. Ghetto Radio. I think the whole issue of people who are non-teachers has always been there. So what has been happening is that schools have not been following that, including even in sports. Because when you get somebody from outside, then it means you are saying that we don't have creativity within the teaching profession. We have a lot of teachers, about 810,000 teachers that have been trained so far in this country, with about 100,000 in private schools and about 405,000 in our public institutions. You can't tell me that you cannot get among 405,000 teachers who can do proper plays. I think that's not true. And especially when you now invite politicians, like the former UDA Secretary General, to be your playwright. I mean, that is something that is not right. and especially looking at the circumstances. We've seen, you know, the altercations between the deputy and the principal and the teacher, the so-called teacher. We don't want those kind of things. The whole issue is that those who are responsible must be held, you know, culpable, because you cannot use that, you know, just to settle political scores. I think that answers your question, Winfrey. I know you as Mswahili of Owino Winfrey. Nilikuwa nafikiri utazungumza Kiswahili wewe Winnie. But the whole issue of Taifa Care, yes, I agree with you. There has been an issue of funding. You know, to deny the obvious is not true. Why? Because we inherited not less than 33 billion shillings from NHIF, and some of them had been fraudulently acquired, those bills. And that is why we are still interrogating that matter to ensure that we deal with that aspect. Having said that, we have now since got a new funding from the second supplementary, 3 billion each for the primary care fund, which is for level 1 to 3, and also for the emergency and critical care and chronic illnesses, another 3 billion, ECCIF. SHIF, of course, from level 4 to level 6, is really, you know, for those who are able to pay this, they get subsidized Medicare, and I have personally benefited. And that is why we are saying, yes, it's a funding issue. Every 14th of the month, we'll be clearing the arrears, but we are also encouraging the people who are paying to actually pay the 300, so that people are able to ensure that we get the value for money. And that's why we are saying, first, we are going to look at the means testing instrument to ensure that it is more, you know, attuned to the income variabilities within the society, but also that people can pay every day using M-Pesa. It's still in the works, and you'll agree with me that will help, because the more people pay, the more people benefit, because we don't get all of us sick at the same time. When you say it's on paper, I tend to disagree with you, Winnie, because if you have 8.5 million Kenyans going to visit various hospitals, they have been, you know, taken care of in one way or another. So if that was not the case, then it would not be as popular. And remember, this is actually the equivalent of all what was happening under NHIF. Yes, it's expanded, and I'm very happy that we are dealing also with various county governments who are also supplementing this kind of initiatives, like the Murang'a County, Kangata Care is doing very well, and other places you can mention, so that then it's both for the national and county, even in terms of ensuring that you don't even end up at the hospital. You first prevent, because there are 5 pillars, you know. You make sure you prevent, promote, palliative and also curative. So you look at all of that, and so CHPs, you know, moving from one house to another to ensure that then you don't end up, in a hospital bed. So that is very important. So it is working. It is working. It has teething problems. It has funding gaps, and we promise as a government to continue to increase the 3 billion per each of these funds going forward, but also urging Kenyans to pay through this system so that we can benefit, because it works like any other insurance. Yes, it's difficult because we've had many people resisting, because to a large extent our healthcare has been privatized. But I believe that going forward, because most of these monies will also go to public hospitals, we are going to see a shift that will benefit the fellow Kenyans. Of course, there is resistance, a lot even from professionals, but we are not going to budge as a government going forward. My friend from Westlife, I think you said so. Kuanza kwa Kiswahili sio kuleta kizungumkuti. Ni vizuri kuenzi lugha yako, ndugu yangu. Kwa sababu tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba Wakenya wengi wanaelewa lugha hii na inawafikia kwa njia ya ufasaha zaidi kuliko hata Kiingereza. Kwa hivyo kusema kwamba kutumia Kiswahili ni kuwakanganya Wakenya, nafikiri hapo umekosea kidogo, hapo umenoa kidogo ndugu yangu. Now the issue of kids and tear gas, yes, we will go. It's not just the police themselves. If at all there were orders that were given, we would want to understand why anyone would give orders, to kids, really. But you see now, you can also imagine we are in a drama festival. So some people are also dramatizing this so that they can milk maximum political capital out of it. Because why would you have children shouting, Ruto must go? I mean, who was inciting them? What was it all about? Then it becomes a political contestation. And especially when you have a former Secretary General of UDA being the playwright. I mean, let's not try to hide under children. This is politics. Politics 101. There's no question about it. And so therefore, we are not going to allow our institutions to be misused for political gains. I think, yes, Alvin from TV47, I agree with you on the issue of law enforcement. I think that force was not necessary, and that is why we actually regret what happened. And of course, action will be taken, going forward. Good. Any other questions?
I think there was one there.
Hamjabote. Juzi nilikuwa nafanya a certain documentary.
Unaitwa nani wewe mwanzo?
Macharia David, Taifa News. Juzi nimekuwa nafanya documentary huko sehemu za Taita Taveta. And one of the kids akaniuliza story about nishindwa kujibu sababu alikuwa anauliza mambo ya SHA. Aliniambia kwamba katika eneo hiyo kwamba kuna watoto wengi ambao wako na wamezaa watoto, yani teenage pregnancy. Huyo mtoto akaniuliza, je, kwa mimi nitaandikisha mtoto kwa SHA aje? Hapo umenielewa swali yangu?
Sijakupata vizuri.
Nimeuliza kwamba mtoto hana ID. Na amepata mtoto. So nikashindwa kumjibu swali kwa sababu I was not on the government side, so I don't know how it is.
Asante.
You have a question? Okay, stand.
Yes, stand.
No, uliza.
Habari daktari.
Asante sana Mhoro. Swali yako ni gani?
Ningependa kuuliza kana kwamba awoni kuna tetesi katika uhuru wa wana consultancy. Kuna watu wamefanya journalism, wengine wamefanya teaching na wengine theater arts. Je, uoni kwamba hao ni wa Kenya kama sisi? Pia wanafaa kupata mapato yao kwa njia nyingine kama hiyo ya kuwa consultants kwa mashule.
Thank you. Imekuwa ingi yote. Itafikaje hapo?
Hujambo, msemaji wa serikali. Jina langu ni Alan Andiva. Nahudumia runinga ya Kapchin, ukipenda runinga Katoliki. Nina maswali mawili tu. Swali la kwanza, wakati mfumo mpya wa SHF umekuja kutoka NHF, taasisi za kidini ikiwemo kanisa Katoliki imekuwa inalia kwamba wanazidi kuzama kwa madeni, ya kwamba kwa mfano wanadai serikali shilingi bilioni 2.5 ya kwamba hawajalipwa. Na si tu kanisa Katoliki peke yake, makanisa dini zingine zote wanakaribia takriban bilioni 10. Swali langu ni je, serikali na mpango upi kufadhili hizi dini? Manake tunafahamu ya kwamba hizi dini zinasaidia karibia 50%. Kwa mfano kanisa Katoliki, taasisi tu za hospitali ni nyingi mno, hivi kwamba zikisimama hata siku moja taifa linaweza likatetemeka. Swali la pili, Russia ilipeana ufadhili wa mbolea na ikasema vizuri kwamba mbolea hii itakuwa bure bilashi. Yani bure kabisa. Kwa maana mimi naelewa kwamba kitu bure unapewa bure. Hivi umesema ya kwamba walichanganya kisha wakapeana, lakini hakuna mkulima yote ambaye anasema ya kwamba alipewa bure. Tunafahamu kwamba wakulima ndio watu maskini hapa kwa taifa letu la Kenya. Hakuna hata yule mama mboga ambaye alipewa mfuko moja bure. Maana mimi nafahamu kwamba kitu cha bure ni cha bure. Alafu kitu cha pili, walichanganya na gani na walielezea nani? Maana hivi taifa la Russia litauliza kwamba Bwana Putin atauliza kwamba hivi akija akauliza kwamba nilipeana mbolea za bure, nataka nipeane zingine bure. Bali nataka tu Mkenya mmoja aseme nilipewa moja bure. Je, nani huyu ambaye atasema alipewa bure? Shukrani za dhati. Jina langu ni Alan Andiva.
Asante sana. Andiva.
Swali langu la mwisho is still on the Butere Girls play.
What's your name?
My name is Winfrey.
Ni Owino bado umerudi?
Nimerudi kwa mara ya mwisho sasa.
Sawa.
From reports we are receiving from the National Drama Festival, zinaonyesha kwamba kulikuwa na michezo zingine which had similar themes. And in some cases even far much, they were more serious than what Butere Girls had.
Yes, please.
And they were staged with no interruptions. So my question is, what is the problem with Butere Girls? Is it the playwright being a politician, or is it the play that comes out as someone using a play, an art, to criticize the government? And another thing, how I've had most of the government officials arguing that this is him trying to use children for political gain. So how will this play give him political mileage, as you have said?
Thank you, Winnie.
Thank you. We do the last one, I think. Madam.
Na moja tu ni hilo tu, nashikilia uzi ule tu. Naitwa Millicent Kubai kutoka KBC Radio. Swali langu ni kwamba mchezo huu wa Butere si kwamba ndo ulikuwa mara ya kwanza unatarajiwa kuwasilishwa Nakuru, lakini umekuwepo kuanzia zonal level. Basi iweje kwamba ndo serikali inakuja dakika za mwisho kufahamu hili na labda kuzuia? Mlikuwa wapi tangu wakati ule?
I think we have one more. Hii maneno ya Malala imekuwa too much.
Hi, Jeremy kutoka Ghetto Radio nimerudi. Na swali langu ni, before umesema ya kwamba vyombo vya habari vinapiga serikali sana. Na ningependa tu kukuuliza, je, wafahamu nafasi ya vyombo vya habari katika jamii? Mbona unataka sana vyombo vya habari vigeuzwe kukuwa PR firms? Our work is just to inform.
Haya, asante sana spokes. Maswali meisha.
Mengi sana. Wewe nitaanza na wewe mwenzangu, mtu wa vyombo vya habari wewe. And by the way, leo kuna jua kidogo. Leo kuna jua na nimevaa kofia, niko na miwani, niko na sunscreen. Na ikiweza sana nitaweza kuweka mwavuli kama itahitajika. Wacha niseme hivi. Sio vyombo vyote vya habari ambavyo vinapiga serikali, lakini kuna vyombo vingine ambavyo vimepita mipaka. Hawezi ukakuwa kila wakati headline yako kila wakati ni kupiga serikali. Una agenda. Una agenda. Kila asubuhi. Kwani serikali hakuna kitu ambacho inafanya kizuri? Kwa hivyo kuna vyombo vya habari, hususan bila ya kutaja, na wanajijua wenyewe, ambao sasa wamekuwa ni kama wao ni aina ya chama cha kisiasa. Pengine wana ufuasi fulani, lakini tunafikiri tunasema hapo sio haki. Millicent Kubai, nafikiri utakubaliana na mimi kwamba ni vizuri kutumia Kiswahili kwa sababu wewe ni Mswahili mwema sana. Kila ambacho kilichotendeka kwamba mchezo huu wa kuigiza ulikuwa uko sawa mpaka kiasi chengine, lakini baadaye ukaweza kubadilishwa, ambayo hilo jambo halifai kufanyika. Kwa hivyo ulibadilishwa, ukaweza kupita katika kiwango cha zonal na kuendelea, lakini ukabadilishwa kwa sababu yule ambaye ni mwandishi alikuwa na nia yake ya kisiasa. Hapo ndio kuna tofauti kidogo. Na wakati walipoambiwa kwamba waweze kuigiza vile ambavyo walivyokuwa wamefanya pale awali, ndio wakakwenda kotini kusema kwamba haki zao zimefanya nini? Zimeweza kukiukwa. Kwa hivyo unaona hapo, hiyo ndio siasa. Siasa ni kule kubadilisha ule uigizaji na yale maneno hususan ambayo yalikuwa yanaonekana kwamba yanakemea serikali kwa njia ambayo haifai, kwa sababu mwanasiasa amehusika pale. Nafikiri pia Winfrey umeweza kuuliza swala hilo na nafikiri nimeweza kukujibu kwamba let me answer you in English because you asked in English. Yes, there are other plays that may even be more lethal in terms of the way they prosecute their themes and whatever. But I think the whole issue here is the fact that yes, there was a political motive behind this whole charade. Why are we not talking about those other plays? It's because someone somewhere wanted to dramatize the politics behind his intentions. And I think he has succeeded, because we are discussing about him now. Sometimes in politics, because I'm one, sometimes that's all what that matters. But having said so, we will not allow that to continue going forward. And that's why we are calling him out. We are calling him out in terms of ensuring that he does not abuse that system. We know what he's up to and what he has been doing. I mean, like, it's obvious that he wanted people to talk about him. And that's what we are discussing here, many of the questions about him. Politicians are very good at that. So I think that's where the problem is. Now coming to the issue of, I think it is Alan Andiva. You see the whole issue, unataka nikujibu kwa Kiswahili ama kwa Kiingereza? Aya, vile ambavyo umejibu kwa Kiswahili. Ndivyo kweli mnadai zaidi ya shilingi bilioni 2.5 katika masuala haya yote ya NHIF. Na nakwambia kwamba tuna madeni zaidi ya bilioni 33. Mengine tumelipa kidogo, lakini tuliweza kutoa sera kwamba wale ambao wana madeni chini ya shilingi milioni 10 ambao ndio wengi tuweze kuwalipa waweze kuwa wako sawa, na hilo tunalitekeleza. Lakini kama wale ambao wako na pesa nyingi kama nyinyi, tunafanya ile mambo inaitwa audit, kuangalia kwamba yako sawa na tutaweza kuwalipa. Hilo nataka kukuhakikishia. Kwa hivyo sio vizuri kunaambia kwamba sasa mtaenda kusema kwamba hospitali zenu zifanye kazi. Ningependa muwe wazalendo, kwa sababu nyinyi ni wa Kristo wenzangu, na dini inatuambia kwamba tumjali mwenzako, tumpende mwenzako kama vile ambavyo tunavyojipenda. Lakini serikali iko tayari kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba tunalipa hizi pesa. Ni nyingi sana. Ikumbuka kwamba tunalipa madeni ili hali watu wanatoa fedha ili wao wenyewe waweze kugharimiwa kimatibabu. Sasa tutalipa zile za kwanza ama ni hizi za hapa? Ndio sasa tunahakikisha kwamba wale ambao wanadai kila tarehe 14 tunaweza kulipa madai ya mwezi uliopita, ndio tuweze kuwa na madeni mengi kama vile ambavyo tumekuwa nayo ya NHIF. Lakini nataka kuhakikishia kwamba hili ni jambo sugu zaidi, kwa sababu linaathiri sana utendakazi, na tutaki pia kwamba mahospitali yaweze kunadiwa kwa sababu ya madeni. Tunahakikisha kwamba tutafanya hilo. Lakini pia mtuie radhi, muwe wavumilivu, kwa sababu jambo hilo lote sio la kirahisi vile ilivyo. Pia nafikiri Mwaura, you asked a very good question about consultants and other people. It's important to understand this. You are allowed to have a playwright who is not a teacher. That's okay, because you could as well take it from a book, right? The problem is directing, kule kuelekeza ule mchezo. So you cannot have the playwright who is also the director, and that's the case of the former UDA Secretary General. He is a playwright, but also he also wants to be the director. That's why he was, and they had incited children or these students that he has to have access to them. So you can see that is a conflict, and that is also how the play itself was actually changed and altered to attain certain political outcomes. So that is where the difference is. So yes, you can write a play that you never know who will also go to act. But then when you want to direct, then teachers must be the ones who should do so. I think the issue of Basharia David, you raise a very legitimate concern kwamba kuna mtoto ambaye ni mtoto ambaye pia amepata mtoto. Hilo ni swali ambalo tunafaa kulishughulikia, kwa sababu ni kesi ambayo ni speciali kidogo. Kwa hivyo nafikiri nimeweza kunukuu, tutaweza kuwasiliana zaidi, kwa sababu hapo kuna changamoto, hususan wale watoto wetu ambao wanapata watoto wakiwa bado ni umri wa chini, matineja, na hilo jambo limeweza kutendeka sana kule mashinani, linafaa kuangaziwa zaidi. Sijui, nafikiri hayo ndio yalikuwa maswali yote. Swali lolote lingine la ziada? We are ready to answer questions. I think we have exhausted the issue of Malala. Let's get another one. Any other question?
Good morning. My name is Koesh Ken, and I have some few questions. One is concerning. No, I don't come from any media house. My name is Koesh Ken, and I'm not from any media house, but I have some 3 questions to ask. One is concerning the CHAN that's yet to happen on August, and you have not spoke about it, concerning the state of our stadiums from the Kasarani, Nyayo, and etc. Secondly is concerning high rate of unemployment among the young people. And now the government is responding concerning it, since the labor ministry has worked on the labor migration, and somehow it has suspended it since of some maybe problems, I can say that, and also what our youth are facing in foreign land, like Thailand, what we saw, was it last week? Yeah, and the jobs that they were scammed about it. Lastly, is concerning the Butere issue also, because what I am just inquiring is what was the government machinery doing about it from the sub-county level to the drama being performed in the national podium.
Kuna mtu huko. Those are very nice questions, my good friend. Even though this is usually a media press conference, those are very good questions. Umefanya nikakuja mbali. Usiulize swali ya Malala tafadhali. Huku ni mbali.
This is Arcadius from GMK News. I think it's not the first time to be in this press conference with Mr. Mwaura. Now, my question is, for how long will this government keep on complaining the inherited debts from the former government, yet you are collecting taxes more than the last government?
Very well. Swali, hapa kuna swali ingine.
I'm Aban Shehemi from Horizon TV. Mine is across the borders, the role of Kenya in the Sudan issue, because people are dying and there's been some blame on the Kenyan government.
Thank you so much. Spokes, I think we can take those questions.
Thank you very much. This is the last set of questions. Thank you, Gabriel. Coach, I think you just witnessed last week the president visiting the Talanta Stadium, which has been able to employ over 3,000 young people, 3,300. So that is a very clear case of employment. And also we've had many other initiatives, like jobs abroad, as you have said it, the teachers that have been employed, over 76,000 teachers. We are soon going to employ police. So we are trying our level best. We have digital jobs also that have already been able to benefit over 190,000 youth. 693,000 youth have benefited from the digital literacy program. We have the Jitumbe hubs. We just visited one in Kajiado at Masai National Polytechnic. So there are opportunities in the affordable housing, over 240,000 jobs that have been created because of the 130,000 houses that are being done here. We have the special economic zones. We went to Narok, to Naivasha, sorry, I beg your pardon, and we even found one that is operating there and others that are starting, a biscuit manufacturing company, and another one that is going to do electric vehicles. We're inviting many people to come so that jobs can be available to Kenyans. So the government is really doing very well in terms of ensuring that we get jobs for Kenyans. And now for those who are going abroad, it's not just equal to get a visa and travel. We have to get a letter showing clearly that you have employment. And we have been able to repatriate those that were in danger in Thailand. I personally got those calls for distress calls. And I was able to liaise with the PS Rosalind Jogu, and we are very happy that they are back home. So Kenyans, be careful. Don't just say that you are going to work abroad. You have to be very, very, very clear that you have a letter of employment, an offer letter that is verifiable. And we are taking a minimum of 4 days to ensure that we verify whether that offer is actually valid and is genuine. But we want many Kenyans out there because we have been able to get over $4 billion, over 590 billion in the last 1 year. And that is helping so many families because remittances are directly to families, and that is what is sustaining many of our rural economies. And then the other issue that we have spoken about is the issue of GMK. Yes, we've collected a lot of money, but we're also paying debt a lot. If you look at our budget, we are paying debt over 1 trillion shillings out of the 4.2 trillion. So yes, we collect, yes, but we are also paying debt and also with the interest. So what we are doing as a country is to reduce external borrowing because it is dollar denominated or foreign currency and it's very expensive. But if we borrow here domestically, 75% is a new target. so that then we are able to leverage on that. Although we also need to have more money for local investment so that we don't crowd out local investors. And one of the things that we must credit this government is to reduce the interest rates. They were as high of 23, 24. Now they are as low as 16, 17% if you are borrowing money. And that means that we are able now to get it more affordable. And it's going to go lower and lower. In fact, even our shilling would be less than 100. We are just trying to make sure that we manage the volatility. But in actual sense, it's going to go lower. Of course, we also expect reduced, cost of fuel, because globally, due to the US tariffs, the global oil prices have actually plummeted. And so therefore, we of course, we are going to see this, reflecting on the pump very, very soon. And of course, encouraging also people to go green because we are the environmental capital of the world. As you may be aware, we have allowed a huge investment of making the UN complex here in Nairobi to be more prominent and to be equal to other places like New York and other places, and Geneva and all of that. So we are in progress. In fact, I can say this with a lot of certainty. This administration has outdone itself. Given the circumstances, it has outdone itself. Forget the propaganda and the negative publicity. Because there are people who thought that we will not even last 3 months after we came to power. But here we are. We've done already 2.5 years. And going forward, we'll now start seeing the true, fruits of our investment. We made painful and difficult decisions, but now we are starting to see the leverage of that. If you look at the corporates, many of them have been able to declare profitability, like KQ, 5.42 billion shillings in terms of profit after 11 years of loss beyond. And then you see the same case with Kenya Power. We see the same case with the banks, like cooperative banks. What does that tell you? That we are stable. We are stable and we are moving forward. But let's give credit where it is due. We may make a lot of, we may make our suggestions widely known, but by the end of the day, personally, where I stand as a government spokesperson, objectively, I believe that we have done extremely well. We can do better when we work collectively, when there is a collective sense of purpose going forward. Asanteni sana.
She was only saying that when in your speech, in your presentation, you used the word hearing impairment. That is a medical perspective. You say deaf, because when you say hearing, it is like you want to be fixed. It can be solved. It's something that can be cured. So it is just like a blind person. The same way they are totally blind, then even for the deaf, you just use it deaf. That's why she gave the example of a blind person.
Okay. I want to clarify something, and please listen to this. What has been happening, we've had this debate a lot of times because we've come across some blind people who prefer to be called visually impaired. There are people who use that. Part of what we've been saying in disability is that language does evolve. You're hearing nowadays neurodiversity. I can tell you for sure, about 5 years ago, neurodiversity was not a word that was appearing a lot. So part of the discussion that has been happening from a human rights law perspective is it is expected that language will definitely evolve. Number two, it is expected that at some point, I know even there's a certain legislator who wanted to move a motion, I'll not say her name, who wanted to move a motion to even change the language in the act to use, there's a word people usually use, abled differently. There's even someone who's using such. So we expect maybe language sometimes can evolve, but there are some particular constituencies, especially the deaf, who are very clear how they want to be referred to. But for the blind, I know for sure, there are those who prefer to be called visually impaired. If you listen to Senator Christo Asige, for instance, say, I'm a visually impaired legislator. She doesn't say I am blind. So sometimes, based on circumstances and how preferences, maybe we can use what a broader number of people are comfortable with. But for the deaf, I'm sure you.
Mine is a more of a comment. It's not a question. I just want to add to what my colleague said. You've mentioned the issue about the using the word impairment is more of medical. So we need to, it shows like we need to be fixed. So I'm wondering that, most people usually insist calling people, the deaf community hearing impaired. So if I am a deaf person, so I can come and say, I am Georgine, I am HI. No, I normally come and say, I am Georgine and I am deaf. So for us in Kenya, deaf is really bringing dignity. It also brings community perspective, and it's also our culture. So moving forward, for the deaf people, hearing impaired, let's not use it, we use the
Excellent.
deaf. And
Agree.
for Abdi, the next time we come, we cannot be fixed, so it's like the way you're doing. Yeah, so next time, let us just use the word deaf.
All right, that is true. Okay. Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to just add on to what has been said, but also seek clarity. Yeah, in terms of when a person is blind, of course the terminology blind is used, right? But a lot of people who are, low vision people, yeah, they prefer to be called visually impaired. So we need to know whether that's right. And also, people who are hard of hearing, yeah, that means they use different gadgets, hearing aids, and so forth. They also call themselves hearing impaired because they are not deaf, right? So I think we need to have clarity on those terminologies so that we don't call someone who is who can hear like 10% deaf, because they're not deaf, really. Yeah? So I think a lot of clarity needs to.
Zioka, you want to say something?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Muko salama. I think I've been here, I've been seated. I sneaked in and kept quiet, Daktari, so that I can listen and hear people's voices. Let me say, all this language we are talking about, these are language gymnastics. And it only takes a group to agree what you think is comfortable. Again, number two, it also takes international considerations of the language to be used. For example, we have been using the word PWDs. Today, you are refusing to be called PWDs. You are saying persons with disabilities in full. Because, you see, so this evolving and this evolution of language